welcome back. It's Dylan from Need 4x4 now. I wasn't going to do a video on this because I didn't think it was anything special, but now that I've done it, I wish I did film it and put a little bit more together, but I figured I could finish it off with you, and might be a little bit of a tiny build series. But essentially, the Patrol has been off the road since I've sold the Canopy, which was the last video, and that made me pretty upset because I haven't been able to drive it. So the next thing I wanted to do was come up with some sort of solution so that I could still drive it in the short term and still use it. So I've come up with a little something, and I'm going to show you that right now. So obviously you can see the tray on the Patrol. It's pretty disgusting, so I understand. You don't have to like it because I don't like it either. But the beauty about this is that it's going to have tray sides in a bit, which you can see right there. So that's going to something I'll try and do today. But yeah, pretty well. It's something that we had to try and knock together just so we could have it. So I'll give you a rundown. Basically, this was a 2.4 or something. It was all the way out here. It was a ginormous tray. Obviously you can see the length of the tray sides. That's how long it was. So basically the length of this tray come all the way out here, and I didn't obviously want that for the Patrol, and it wasn't going to work. So this here now is 1200, which is going to be the same dimension of the new tray that I'm getting built. So basically, when I got this thing, I just ran a grinder straight through it, and I cut the whole fucking rear end off. I completely got rid of it, and I had to, I was just going to chop it, and then that was going to be it. But the more that I looked into it and had my old man had a geese, we figured out that there's actually a complete locking system, which you can see there's actually a bit of a join here from when we were putting it back together. Obviously, we can't get it exactly as good as factory, but essentially there's all these joins in these ribs here. And we were able to remove these side panels here, which, full disclosure, I did have to cut the absolute buggery out of this and cut off all bolts and everything because it is an older tray. But yeah, we chopped it all up, opened up the ends here, took all the panels out, and then I actually managed to salvage the end part and keep all the bits that we needed to do, and then get back to where the join was and slot it back in. So it's completely temporary and rough, which, as you can see, the cabling, for an example, is the worst part yet. But basically, I just got some $40 lights, chucked them on, put a little bracket thing there, put them in, and the next thing we're going to do is just cut the tray sides to fit, and everything should still work. So I made it, obviously, so the hinges were in decent positioning, and it's all just latches. So it should completely work as a tray, and it's going to be awesome. It's obviously not perfect. I've already put it through some of its paces, and I don't know if you can quite see because I got it strapped, but I've actually already cracked the whole headboard on this side. So it's not perfect, but it means I can drive the Patrol and get it around. So it's good in my books. Okay, so you can see what we're up against now. That was the full length of the tray. So yeah, we've cut it almost halfway. But yeah, she was a long girl. And yeah, we've cut it back now. Obviously, this panel doesn't change at all because it's the same width. But you can see, yeah, obviously these are all end caps. So if I just get rid of all these rivets, and this whole cap will come off, by the time I cut it back here, I can just reinstall that or make a new one, whatever we've got to do. Same thing with these rivets. Cut all these rivets off, and that will free this up. Or, go to Bunnings and get a new kit. Doesn't really matter what we do there. I don't think it's, they're sort of in good nick, but I got to try and cut all them and then reinstall it, which might be a prick. But anyway, that's all we got to do essentially, is just cut these back so that they will slot in here once we end cap them, make them suit this, and then we're pretty well done. These will be fully functional, something like that. Then we've got tray sides. How good would that bloody be? Yeah, look how long it was. Anyway, let's see what we can do. Okay, so tray side's marked up, obvious choice, using the square texture. Some tab row for the grinder, and obviously some muffs for your little ears to make sure that they last the distance. So let's
here for the thrill, I don't need a chaser. Wanna vibe at a getaway. Shimmy, shimmy, yeah, I got the semi-four weight. Don't step out the line like this a 4 date. You hit the line and tried to locate. This for the time, got time for no day. One, too many, I'm going. Too crazy, and I got bad ones and they ready.
Oh, now I'm no fabricator or fucking anything like that, but little tip that I do when I'm doing these or cutting anything is I actually score where the marking is. I don't know if you can see that, but I score where the marking is so that when you actually cut into it, the blade has somewhere to sort of go. Otherwise, if you try and cut deep and cut through the whole thing over a certain distance, sometimes it can warp a little bit, especially with alloy. It's pretty easy to cut. So anyway, little tip for you.
Need that pronto. Look like a rave at the condo. Heck of a night in Toronto. She said, boy, you in Morocco. Pearl white mention in the top gold. Fill up my cup with the...
Right, second one cut. Go ahead and close this. Absolutely perfect. So obviously once you put a little bit of an end cap in there, might splay it out a little bit. Might be a little bit tighter, but nothing we can't fix. All right, both end caps. Like that. There we go. Now I can still screw whatever I want in there. It doesn't have to be rivet. See if this one lines up too. Beautiful. Tray sides, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that. That's what we want. Nice and tight. No rattles. Like that. Cut them off and see. I mean, there's no harm in trying. May as well try and cut them off. See if we can utilise them. If not, then worst case, just get a new one from. Well, that was easy. They're all off. 1 and 2. So they're obviously off. That was easy enough. Get this in its posi, and then you know, hook it on here, latch it up, and then send a screw through it, I guess. You know, that should be us. Woohoo! Here we are. Completed try. Completed tray. Minus one more latch. So that was pretty straightforward. Marked one hole, screwed it in. Obviously we've got an adjustment here, so I just gave a little bit more adjustment. But yeah, basically works beautifully. Nice and tight. Sort of just, you know, putting it in there. I haven't got it lined up, but anyway, that goes in nice and tight. So I'll set that up so it's easy on the other side. You know, and if I ever think about painting this or something one day, because I have screwed it, I probably will, like, you know, take these out. Obviously got the holes where they need to be because of the screws, and then just pop rivet it again, just so it's a little bit nicer. Maybe update the latches one day, but yeah, basically that's all done. That's what the other side's going to look like, and then it'll be a completed tray. So pretty stoked about that. It would have been nice if these had a little bit more contour in them, a little bit more detail. I don't really like the flat sides, but to be honest, like I said, this tray was 150 bucks. You know, old mate didn't want it. It was his son's mate's tray. So it's been sitting at his house for like 3 or 4 years, and it was a couple of years old before that. So it's an old tray. You just want to get rid of it. You know, 150 bucks plus what, 50 bucks for a light. So even got, you know, number plate light and shit as well, and a reverse light. And, you know, I can drive the Patrol again. My tray's not due for like another, I think, the end of November 2022. So this means I get to spend more time with Gui. So I'm happy about that. I'm going to put this other latch on, and then a bit of a montage, I think. We'll wrap it up.